So, I realized, I said, man, I'm being forced to take care of my liver, pancreas, and kidneys by force. See if I can keep this under 5 minutes, guys. I said, man, because there's a lot to complain about. There's always going to be something to complain about, right? But I'm like, man, everything I'm doing, it's like I'm being forced to take care of my liver, my pancreas, and my kidneys. So, when you start getting older and stuff, you start paying more attention to your blood sugar. Now, when I get up in the morning, the fact that the first thing I'm dealing with is black coffee, nascent iodine, and GABA, that's all about blood sugar. Once you stabilize your blood sugar, you can start to stabilize everything else, including your mind. Most people get up in the morning, first thing they doing, they eating some kind of grain, toast, bread. It's like all the staples that we grew up doing. It's bad. You might, like I said, you might be able to get rid of it when you you might be able to put up with it when you're younger, but when you get older, you cannot eat toast. You cannot eat bread when you get up. You cannot, not at least not today's bread, and probably not any kind of bread, because the grains, I already told you guys, based on the information I know, grains was never meant to be consumed. It's like peasant food, and if you eat peasant food, you're gonna go out like a peasant. Let me tell you. Yeah, grain, that's something that's for animals. Anything you gotta process is not really meant for human consumption, in my opinion. There's some other opinions out there, scientific studies, that would agree with me. Grain is just not the way to go, and it definitely can mess up your blood sugar. Now, one grain that I can tell you guys that I will deal with, it's something like corn. I can tolerate corn, but not too much of it. Rice is not really good for me, and we know wheat is not good for me. We already talked about the studies being conducted about GABA, about the proliferation of liver cells. It generates GABA generating new cells in the liver. This is the studies that's being done. So some of us know black coffee is good for the liver, and nascent iodine is definitely good for the liver and the blood sugar, as well as the pancreas. But just to end this, guys, I don't want to be long. The whole kidney thing. So I'll tell you guys how airborne gluten affects me, right? So if I walk even outside of a pizza shop and I get a sniff of that airborne gluten, it's going to be problematic. I'm going to start to feel these stomach pains immediately when I inhale it, and the only thing that gets rid of it is baking soda. I'm talking about immediately. I actually have to carry around baking soda with me, guys. If you could imagine a man wearing a suit and a tie, like me walking down. Let's say I'm just out wearing a suit and a tie, right? And I actually got a little small packet of baking soda. Maybe I'll put it in like a weed package or something. It'll look like I'm carrying around a narcotic or something, right? But imagine me carrying that around in my inner pocket of my suit jacket. Not that I have to take it, but just in case, right? I come across some airborne gluten, and I get a airborne gluten attack, and I have to take that out and take about a half teaspoon of baking soda for that pain to go away. Well, it turns out baking soda actually keeps your kidneys healthy. What I just read about that 2 weeks ago. And I'm pretty sure consuming baking soda does other things. And the fact that I eat a lot of peanuts, I really like peanuts. It's a good thing I like peanuts a lot, because It's a food that doesn't raise your blood sugar. It's like my whole day is pretty much don't raise that blood sugar up. They say, I read once upon a time, I read that everybody gets diabetes eventually. But the thing is, you don't have to get that disease. What you have to do is take care of yourself and know what you're doing. That's what you have to do. And like I said, just to close it out, a lot of foods that we've been eating conditioned. You know, like I said, your mama ate it, your grandma ate it, your great grandma ate it, but they all died. A lot of things that we conditioned to doing, eating, the way we live, you gotta look at everything. It's like being born again. You gotta do it's like waking up one day and realizing everything you do is wrong. Like almost everything, even the way you think. And then you have to take it like step by step to get rid of that stuff and reprogram yourself. It's not easy to do. People are so conditioned, you know what I mean? And people are afraid of change. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I just want to say a few things about that, and I will holler at y'all later.